Sometimes one small thing can change everything, and that's exactly what happened to me, Kelly, just 3 weeks before my engagement party. I'm 30 and was thrilled about marrying Michael, my boyfriend of 5 years. We had been planning this party for months, and everything was going perfectly. But then, out of nowhere, my mom called. "Kelly, cancel the engagement party," she demanded over the phone. I almost dropped my phone in shock. "What? Mom, are you serious?" I asked, hoping it was a joke. "No joke. Lauren just got promoted, and we're celebrating on your engagement day," she replied. Lauren, my younger sister by 4 years, has always been the favorite of my parents. But this was a whole new level of craziness. "Mom, come on. I've been planning this for so long. I'm not canceling just because Lauren got a promotion at work," I said, trying to stay calm. "Don't be selfish, Kelly. This is a big deal for your sister. Same guests, different party, just reschedule," she insisted. I felt my anger rising. "No way, Mom. This is my engagement we're talking about. I'm not canceling. End of story," I said firmly. She started yelling, her voice so high it hurt my ears. I didn't even bother to listen. I just hung up the phone. As I sat there, staring at my phone, memories from my childhood came rushing back. It was always like this: Lauren first, me second. I remembered my 18th birthday, which my parents had totally forgotten until Grandma called to wish me a happy birthday. They quickly threw together a sad celebration with a grocery store cake and a gift card. It was pathetic, especially compared to the big 5-day party they had thrown for Lauren's 15th, just a few months earlier. That's when Michael walked in. He took one look at my face and knew something was wrong. "Kelly, what's going on?" he asked, sitting down beside me. I told Michael everything: the call from my mom, her demands, and all the memories that came flooding back. He listened, and I could see him getting more upset with every word. "That's ridiculous," he said when I finished. "We're not canceling anything." I nodded, feeling so grateful for his support. "I know, but why can't they ever put me first just once?" I asked, feeling the frustration build. "Because they're clueless," Michael said firmly. "But I put you first, always." I looked up at him and managed a small smile. "I know. That's why I'm marrying you, silly." We spent the rest of the night going over our plans, making sure everything was perfect. As I drifted off to sleep, I tried to push thoughts of my family out of my mind. This was my time, my moment, and I wasn't going to let them ruin it. The next morning, I woke up determined to forget about my mom's crazy call and focus on the party. I had a million things to do: send invites, sort out decorations, you name it. Then my phone buzzed. It was my cousin Julie. "Hey Kelly, everything okay with you and Michael? Heard you guys split up," she texted. I stared at my phone, totally confused. Where did she get that idea? I quickly typed back, "What? No way, we're fine." "Who told you that?" Julie's reply came quickly. "Weird. Aunt Olivia said your mom told her the engagement was off." My stomach dropped like a stone. I called Julie right away. "What's going on?" I asked as soon as she picked up. "I don't know, Kelly. Aunt Olivia called last night and said your mom told her you and Michael had this huge fight and called everything off. She said we should all go to Lauren's promotion party instead." It felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "Julie, that's all lies. We're still engaged and the party's still on. Mom wanted me to cancel for Lauren's thing, but I said no way." There was a pause. "Oh no, Kelly, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." I spent the next hour on the phone with Julie, trying to figure out what happened. Turns out, my mom had gone behind my back and called every single relative on the guest list, spinning a wild story about Michael and me breaking up and redirecting them all to Lauren's promotion party. I took a deep breath, trying to calm down. "I'm going to fix this mess. Can you help spread the word that the engagement is still on?" I asked. "Of course," Julie replied without hesitation. "I'll start calling people right now." After hanging up, I just sat on my couch, trying to wrap my head around it all. My own mother had tried to sabotage my engagement party. It was almost too crazy to believe. Michael found me there an hour later when he got home from work. One look at my face, and he knew something was wrong. I told Michael everything about Mom's calls, the lies, and how she redirected everyone to Lauren's party. With each word, I could see the anger growing in his eyes. "That's it. he said when I finished. We're cutting them off, all of them. Your parents, Lauren, the whole bunch. I knew he was right, but the idea of cutting off my family scared me. Even though they treated me poorly, they were still my family. Let's focus on fixing this first, I said. We need to let everyone know the engagement is still on. Michael nodded, determined. Okay, where do we start? We spent the rest of the night doing damage control, sending emails, making calls, and posting on social media. I wrote a long message explaining everything and sent it to everyone on our guest list. It was exhausting and humiliating, having to explain over and over that no, Michael and I hadn't broken up, and yes, the engagement party was still happening. By the time we finished, it was way past midnight. My voice was hoarse from all the talking, and my eyes burned from staring at screens. We did it, Michael said, pulling me into a hug. It's going to be okay. I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Mom's betrayal had opened up old wounds, all the times I'd been overlooked, all the times Lauren had been the favorite. It all came rushing back. The next day, I decided to visit Aunt Nicole. She's my dad's sister and has always been pretty nice to me. I figured I'd invite her to the engagement party in person and clear up any confusion. When I got to her place, I heard voices coming from the living room. I was about to call out a greeting when I overheard something that made me stop in my tracks. I can't believe Kelly would do such a thing, Aunt Nicole was saying. Canceling her own engagement party just to spite her sister. So childish. My heart sank. It was another lie, spread by my own family to cover up the first one. I was about to burst in and set the record straight when I heard another voice chime in. I know, right? Poor Lauren must be devastated. After all that hard work to get promoted, and now Kelly is trying to steal her thunder. I recognized that voice. It was my cousin Maria. I always thought we were close, but there she was, gossiping about me behind my back. I couldn't take it anymore. I stepped into the room and asked, "Is that really what you think of me?" Both women jumped like they'd seen a ghost. Aunt Nicole was the first to recover, quickly putting on a fake smile. "Kelly, sweetie, we didn't hear you come in." "Obviously," I replied, my voice cold. "I came to invite you to my engagement party, but it seems like you've already made up your minds about me." Maria at least had the decency to look embarrassed. "Kelly, we didn't mean." "Save it." I cut her off. "I want to know exactly what Mom told you." For the next hour, I listened as they revealed everything about Mom's twisted story. According to her, I had a tantrum when I heard about Lauren's promotion and demanded she reschedule her celebration. When Lauren refused, I supposedly canceled my own engagement party out of spite, saying I'd rather not get married at all than share the spotlight. It was just another lie from my family. By the time they finished, I was trembling with anger. "None of that is true," I said, my voice shaking. "Mom called me and demanded I cancel my engagement party for Lauren's celebration. I said no, and now she's spreading lies to sabotage me." I told them everything: the forgotten birthdays, the constant comparisons, years of feeling like I was never good enough. By the time I finished, both women were in tears. "Oh, Kelly," Aunt Nicole said, reaching for my hand. "We had no idea. We should have known better than to believe such crazy stories." I took a deep breath, trying to calm down. "Look, I appreciate the apology, but right now I need your help. The engagement party is still on, and I need you to spread the word. Can you do that?" They both nodded eagerly, relieved to have a chance to make things right. As I left Aunt Nicole's house, I felt all mixed up, angry at Mom's betrayal, hurt that my family so easily believed the worst about me, but also a bit hopeful. At least some of the truth was out now. The big day arrived, and I was a bundle of nerves. As Michael and I walked up to the hall, I held my breath as we pushed open the doors, bracing myself for whatever mess we might find inside. But holy cow, I couldn't believe my eyes. The place was buzzing with people. Smiling faces turned to greet us, and a warm, fuzzy feeling washed over me. The room was packed with relatives, not just the ones we had managed to reach the day before, but faces I hadn't seen in ages. "I can't believe you all came," I said, my voice choked up. Uncle Paul, my dad's brother, came up and gave Michael a hearty slap on the back. "Of course we came," Did you really think we'd miss this? I've got to say, those rumors about your canceled engagement spread like wildfire, but it looks like they backfired big time, someone said. I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. I guess they did. As Michael and I made our way through the crowd, soaking up all the congratulations and well wishes, I couldn't help but notice that Mom, Dad, and Lauren were nowhere to be seen. No texts, no emails, not even a reluctant congratulations. But surprisingly, their absence felt more like a relief than a disappointment. Instead, I found myself drawn to Michael's parents, who were beaming at us with genuine pride and love. His mom hugged me tight and whispered, "We're so proud of you, Kelly. You're already part of our family." The party was in full swing when suddenly there was a commotion near the dance floor. I couldn't believe my eyes. There was my 83-year-old grandma in the middle, showing off what she called an incendiary dance from her youth. "Come on, you young ones," she called out, her eyes twinkling mischievously. "Let me show you how we used to dance back in my day." The crowd went wild as Grandma twirled and swayed, moving surprisingly well for her age. Soon, others joined in, and the dance floor turned into an amazing multi-generational dance-off. As I mingled with the guests, I couldn't help but overhear bits of gossip about all the family drama leading up to today. "Can you believe what Kelly's mother tried to do?" I heard Cousin Maria say to another relative. "She tried to cancel her own daughter's engagement party for her other daughter's work thing. It's nuts." "I know," the other voice replied. "Poor Kelly has always gotten the short end of the stick in that family. I'm glad she's finally standing up for herself." Instead of feeling embarrassed or upset by these conversations, I felt validated. For once, my relatives were seeing the truth about my family dynamics, and they were on my side. As the night went on, I found myself feeling truly happy and celebrated maybe for the first time ever. The absence of my immediate family, which I had been so worried about, instead felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. The day after our amazing engagement party, Michael and I were relaxing on the couch, reliving the awesome moments from the night before when my phone rang. My stomach flipped when I saw it was Mom calling. Against my better judgment, I answered the call. "Hello." "You ungrateful, nasty girl." Mom's voice screeched through the phone. "How dare you?" I held the phone away from my ear, her angry rant loud even from a distance. Michael looked at me, concerned, but I shook my head, signaling that I'd handle it. "Mom, what?" "Don't you mom me," she cut me off. "You've humiliated your sister. Only 5 people showed up to her party and they were just those nosy old aunts who'd go to anything." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "I'm sorry you're disappointed, but..." "Disappointed?" "Lauren is crushed. She cried all night. This was supposed to be her moment, and you ruined it with your selfishness." I felt my patience slipping. "Mom, I've been planning my engagement party for months. Lauren's promotion party was a last-minute thing, and she knew it clashed with my engagement. That's no excuse. Family comes first, Kelly, but clearly you don't understand that." Before I could respond, she hung up on me. Immediately after the call, my phone buzzed with a text from Lauren. "Hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. I'll make you pay for this humiliation." I showed the message to Michael, who frowned. She can't be serious. The next 3 weeks were quiet, and I started to think maybe the storm had passed. But then, one afternoon, there was an unexpected knock at our door. I opened it to find Michael's parents standing there, looking worried. "Mr. and Mrs. Adam, what a surprise. Is everything okay?" I asked. They exchanged a glance before Mrs. Adams spoke. "Kelly, dear, can we come in? We need to talk to you about something." My heart sank as I led them to the living room. Once we were all seated, Mr. Adam cleared his throat. "Kelly, we've heard some troubling rumors. There's been talk that you've been cheating on Michael." I felt like I'd been slapped. "What?" "That's ridiculous. I would never." "We know, dear," Mrs. Adam interrupted gently. "We've known you for years. We don't believe it for a second." Relief washed over me, quickly followed by anger as I realized where these rumors likely came from. "It's my sister," I said, my voice shaking a bit. She threatened to get back at me for ruining her promotion party. She must be spreading these lies. Mr. Adam nodded grimly. We figured as much. We wanted to come to you directly rather than let these rumors spread. As they left, they promised to help squash any rumors they heard. I felt all mixed up inside. I was touched by the Adams' support and trust in me, but I was also furious at Lauren. How could she sink so low? A few days after the drama with Michael's parents, I got a call from Grandma. Her voice, usually so cheery, sounded worried. Kelly, sweetie, she started, I've heard about all this mess with your parents and Lauren. Don't you think it's time to bury the hatchet? I sighed, feeling the weight of her expectations. Grandma, it's not that easy. They've really hurt me. I know, honey, but they're family. Surely there's a way to patch things up. I could hear the plea in her voice, and it tugged at my heartstrings. Grandma had always been there for me, even when the rest of my family wasn't. I hated disappointing her. What do you think I should do? I asked, already dreading the answer. Why don't you try reaching out? Make a peace offering. Show them you're willing to mend fences. I closed my eyes, torn between my love for Grandma and my need to protect myself. After a long moment, I sighed. Okay, Grandma, I'll try for you. That evening, I stood on my parents' doorstep, heart pounding. As soon as I stepped inside, I knew this wasn't going to go well. Lauren was there, her face full of anger. So, she spat, you think you can just waltz in here and throw me a pity party? That's not what I started, but she cut me off. I don't need your handouts, Kelly. Do you think that makes up for what you did? I should have had my party on your day, then people would have actually shown up. I stared at her, shocked by the bitterness in her voice. Lauren, I'm trying to make things right. Make things right, she screeched. You ruined everything. As usual, it's all about you. I looked to my parents, hoping for some support, but they just stood there, nodding along with Lauren. She's right, Kelly, Mom said. You've always been so selfish. I felt something snap inside me. Without a word, I turned and walked out, ignoring their calls behind me. Later, I visited my grandma again. She greeted me with a hopeful smile. How did it go, dear? Instead of answering, I pulled out my phone. Grandma, I think you need to hear this. Her eyes widened in surprise, but she nodded. I hit play, and Lauren's furious voice filled the room. As the recording played, I watched Grandma's face change from hope to shock, then to deep disappointment. When it finished, there was a long silence. Then, to my surprise, Grandma reached out and took my hand. Oh, Kelly, she said, her voice thick with emotion. I'm so sorry. I had no idea it was this bad. I owe you an apology, Grandma said. I shouldn't have pushed you to reconcile. I felt tears well up in my eyes. It's okay, Grandma. You didn't know. She shook her head. No, it's not okay. I should have believed you from the start. I just wanted so badly for our family to be whole. We sat in silence for a while, both thinking about what had happened. Finally, Grandma spoke again. Kelly, dear, I want you to know something. Family isn't just about blood. It's about love, respect, and support. And from what I've seen and heard, Michael and his family give you that. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for choosing your own happiness. The morning after my heart-to-heart with Grandma, I woke up to my phone buzzing like crazy. It was a flood of angry texts from my parents. My heart sank as I read them, realizing Grandma must have told them about the recording. How dare you record our private conversations? Mom's message screamed. You're nothing but a sneaky, ungrateful snitch. Dad's message was just as bad. I can't believe you'd stoop so low as to secretly record us and then play it for your grandmother. You've betrayed this family for the last time. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Even with proof of their behavior, they still managed to make me the bad guy. This was the last straw. I was done with my toxic family. In the weeks that followed, I tried to focus on work and my life with Michael, but Lauren had other plans. Her spitefulness went into overdrive as she started harassing me. It began with whispers at work. Colleagues would go silent when I walked into a room, only to start whispering again as soon as I left. I soon found out Lauren had been spreading nasty rumors about me, from calling me incompetent to telling outright lies about my personal life. Then came the anonymous messages on social media. Hateful comments popped up on my posts, each one nastier than the last. I couldn't prove it was Lauren, but the tone and content left little doubt in my mind. But Lauren's cruelty reached a new low when she tried to contact Michael. One evening, he came home looking troubled. "Kelly, I got a weird call today," he said. "It was Lauren. She tried to tell me you were cheating on me." I felt the blood drain from my face.
What?
"Michael, you know that's not true." He quickly reassured me. "Of course, I know that." I shut her down right away. "But Kelly, this is getting out of hand." I nodded, feeling a mix of anger and exhaustion. "I know. I just don't know how to make it stop." I didn't have to do much. Lauren's obsession with revenge started to backfire on her. She became so focused on trying to make my life miserable that her work began to suffer. She spent more and more time plotting against me, and her coworkers noticed. They saw her constantly whispering and spending long stretches on her phone instead of doing her job. It wasn't long before her bosses noticed too. I heard through the office grapevine that Lauren received an official warning for her poor performance. But even that didn't seem to slow her down. Then, about a month into her harassment campaign, the news broke Lauren had been demoted. The irony was clear to everyone. The promotion she had been so desperate to celebrate, the one that had started this whole mess, was now taken away. After the drama with Lauren finally settled down, I threw myself into wedding planning like it was my full-time job. We finally picked a beautiful outdoor venue, a fairy tale garden with a charming gazebo where we'd say our I dos. As we stood there, imagining our big day, Michael gave my hand a gentle squeeze. "Are you happy?" he asked softly. I looked up at him, feeling all warm and fuzzy inside. "Happier than I've ever been," I replied, and I truly meant it. With the venue set, we moved on to choosing our wedding party. I asked my closest friends, the ones who had stuck by me through all the craziness, to be my bridesmaids. They all said yes, which made me even more excited. Then came the guest list. I sat at our dining table, addressing envelopes to all the relatives and friends who had supported us during the past few chaotic months. As I wrote each name, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for these people who had shown me what real family is all about. But when I got to the bottom of my list, I paused. There were 3 names I hadn't written: Mom, Dad, and Lauren. I stared at those blank spaces, feeling a swirl of emotions inside me. Michael found me there, staring at the paper. "Are you okay?" he asked, putting a comforting hand on my shoulder. I looked up at him, tears in my eyes. "I don't think I can invite them, Michael. Not after everything that's happened." He nodded, understanding. "It's your call, Kelly. Whatever you decide, I've got your back." I took a deep breath and put down the pen. "No," I said, my voice stronger than I expected. "They don't deserve to be there. This day is about celebrating love and support, and that's not something they've shown me." As I made that decision, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. This wedding was about starting a new chapter, surrounded by people who truly cared about us. And I knew that, with Michael by my side, I was making the right choice. As I said the words, it felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. It was a bittersweet moment, realizing that cutting ties with my toxic family was the right decision for my future. There was sadness, of course, but it was mixed with an overwhelming sense of relief. The weeks flew by, and before I knew it, our wedding day had arrived. Standing in front of the mirror in my bridal suite, adjusting my veil, I was suddenly filled with a peace I hadn't felt in years. As I walked down the aisle toward Michael, I saw the faces of the people who had supported us. Michael's parents were beaming with pride, my grandma was dabbing at her eyes with a hanky, and our friends and relatives who had stood by us, despite all the family drama, were smiling warmly. These were my people, the ones who had shown me what real love and support looked like. When I reached Michael, he took my hands in his eyes shining with love. As we said our vows, I felt a deep sense of rightness settle over me. This was where I belonged. At the reception, surrounded by laughter and joy, I had a big realization. My engagement party all those months ago wasn't just about celebrating our upcoming marriage. It was the first day of my new life, a life where I wasn't an outsider anymore, but the creator of my own happiness. As Michael and I swayed to our first dance as husband and wife, I rested my head on his shoulder, feeling truly at peace. The journey had been tough, no doubt, but it had led me here to a place of strength, wisdom, and genuine happiness. "I love you," Michael whispered in my ear. "I love you too," I replied, my heart swelling with emotion. In that moment, I knew that whatever life threw our way, we'd face it together. And for the first time in my life, I was excited about the future, not scared of it. This was my fresh start, and I was ready to dive in headfirst with Michael by my side.